Episode 1. Healers in Hell, the First Battlefield Nurses. Welcome to Pete's World of Poisonous Plants. Today we begin a brand new series, Battlefield Medicine, the Real Angels of War. This series is not about generals or emperors, but about the healers who stood in the mud and blood, with no armor but their courage. Nurses, attendants and medics, the forgotten heroes, who risked everything to drag the wounded back from the edge, using nothing more than dirty bandages and poisonous plants. Our story begins on the killing grounds of ancient Greece and Rome. Picture the scene, the clash of swords, the rattle of shields. The ground is slick with blood, littered with shattered spears and severed limbs. The air is thick with screams, some of rage, some of agony. And in this nightmare, a nurse kneels beside a soldier whose life is draining away. No morphine pumps, no antibiotics, just a sponge dripping with a toxic brew of plants, the infamous Spongia somnifera, the sponge of sleep. It was soaked in wine laced with opium poppy, henbane, mandrake, sometimes hemlock. Pressed to the lips, it might drag the soldier into unconsciousness just long enough for the surgeon to saw through shattered bone. Too weak, and he would writhe and scream through every cut. Too strong, and he would never wake up. This was the brutal gamble of ancient medicine. The opium poppy was the healer's greatest weapon. From its pods came morphine-like alkaloids, powerful enough to drown out the screams. Mixed into wine, it dulled agony like nothing else. But it also confused the mind and sapped strength. Soldiers who survived their wounds often carried a new battle inside them, addiction. Yet on the battlefield, none of that mattered. The choice was pain beyond endurance or the mercy of the poppy. Then there was henbane, a straggly little plant with yellow flowers veined in purple. Its scopolamine and hyoscyamine calmed spasms and slowed pain. But the line between healing and hallucination was razor thin. Soldiers under henbane drifted into visions of gods and monsters. Some screamed at enemies that weren't there. Some slipped into silence forever, and the nurse at their side had no scales, no syringes, just instinct, prayer, and hope. And finally, the mandrake root, twisted and human-like, steeped in legend. Soldiers whispered that its scream could kill a man outright when pulled from the soil. But on the battlefield, superstition was cast aside. Mandrake was crushed into wine to sedate the broken. A soldier with half a leg left might be held down. Mandrake poured into his throat as his comrades pinned him for the sore. The nurse, hands steady despite the chaos around her, became the difference between faint hope and certain death. The Romans perfected this brutal craft. Their Medici carried sponges steeped in poison. Imagine a Roman nurse kneeling in the dirt beside a mangled centurion, whispering a prayer as she pressed the sponge to his mouth. She knew the risk. She might save him. She might kill him. But she tried anyway because that is what nurses have always done. Stepped forward when others stepped back. And here's the truth. These nurses weren't just healers, they were pioneers. Centuries before Paracelsus declared that the dose makes the poison, they lived that reality with every rag, every drop, every trembling hand. In the horror of battle, they discovered what we now call pharmacology. A little could heal, a little more could kill. And they bore the responsibility in silence. We mustn't forget. The battlefield was their theater of war. The courage it took to press on, surrounded by screams, blood, and the stench of death, is almost unimaginable today. They didn't fight with swords, but with compassion, bravery, and poison measured out in hope. And their legacy survives. Modern morphine, anaesthesia, even painkillers trace their ancestry to those same sponges of sleep. The nurses of antiquity gave us the foundations of medicine itself. So next time you meet a nurse, whether in a hospital ward, a care home, or at your local GP's office, remember that you are looking at the descendant of those battlefield angels. Heroes then, and heroes still. This has been episode 1 of Battlefield Medicine, the Real Angels of War. In our next chapter, we'll move into the medieval monasteries where monks and nuns fought their own battles with poisonous poultices and potions. If you found this glimpse into history's darker corners worth your time, give the video a like and subscribe to Pete's World of Poisonous Plants. And remember, just because it grows in the ground doesn't mean it won't put you under it.